everybody, it's Felisa, and I just want to start off by saying that I absolutely love Hall & Oates, and every song that they have pretty much is in my playlist, but I think I Can't Go For That is perfect for this particular segment because this is a follow-up to my Situationships vlog that I uploaded earlier this week. So I'm just going to give a quick disclaimer. You know, these are my observations, my thoughts, my rants, my ideas, my perspectives, and hopefully it gives you some kind of nugget to chew on, and maybe in some cases helps you to think about things a little bit differently. So here we go. As I was talking on Monday about situationships and, talking about the young couple, I really don't want to belabor that point because I think, because I've been hearing that it was staged and all that kind of stuff, and I don't know, people do things for a variety of reasons, and if it was staged, God bless them, but I still think that those things do happen in relationships, and I do think that women find themselves in a position where they've already initiated sex, they've already gone the distance for these guys, and the relationship or the situationship is not quite defined, and so now they're finding themselves having to go back to the table of negotiation to see exactly, where they stand, and I think that that's where a lot of women lose their bargaining position, and they lose their perspective because they're already overly invested in a relationship or a situationship that was never designed to go the distance in the first place, and so I want to start from there. One of the things that I want to say, especially to young girls, is that there's a book by Judy Blume called Forever. And I read this book in school, in high school, actually, maybe middle school. I can't remember. I read this book, and the book was about a young girl who fell in love. I'm gotta struggle to remember the whole plot. Okay, she fell in love, or she fell in deep like with her guitar instructor, I want to say. And he was much older than she was. I want to say that she was like still in high school, and he was in his 20s, statutory rape much. But anyway, she found herself, really falling for this guy, and they started this hot and heavy relationship, and she lost her virginity to him. And of course, she was, really, really overly invested. Anyway, I won't spoil the book in case anybody decides they want to go and read it, but there is one passage that always stuck out to me, and this was I think her grandmother was talking to her, and the girl never came out and said that she was having sex with this guy, but the grandmother knew, and she said something to the effect of basically, once you have sex, you can never go back to just holding hands. And that has always resonated with me. That has always been kind of like in the back of my head for girls and for women. And what that basically means is that once you've gone the furthest that you can go intimately with a person, you can't back up and now have that innocence in your relationship. You just can't. That's not the way that things work. And unfortunately, women use sex to get to love. Men use love to get to sex. But women using sex to get to love means that a lot of times they never get what they want. They continuously use their bodies and use what they have in order to compel this man to feel something for them, to compel this man to express some type of emotion that they've been craving. That is not how that works. That is not how that works. I don't know of any case of any man who has fallen in love with a woman because he has sex with her. I know plenty of cases of women who have fallen in love because they had sex. Plenty. Too many. It's ridiculous. But that's the way that we're wired. That is the way that we respond to intimacy, and you have to know that. Like, this is a game that we really can't win. We can't win this, ladies. We just cannot. Now, those of you that are on peripheral, like, Felisa, I don't know, I'm capable of having all kinds of sex and never feel nothing. First, seek help. Second, I think that, there are ways and times where you can certainly compartmentalize your feelings. That's not necessarily the healthiest thing in the world. And there are women out there who don't have those associations to sex. I'm not talking about y'all. I'm talking about women who are emotionally invested, women who do feel things on a deeper level, who are experiencing connectivity with these men who don't mean them any good. It's not healthy to continue to do that. It's not healthy to continue to give yourself away to someone who has no desire to do anything with you beyond what you're doing at this particular moment. That's all you are to him. You break your own heart when you do that. Now, if that's all you want from this guy, if you're perfectly content with that, if you're satisfied with what you have, then by all means, just have at it. But if you really are brokenhearted because this man continuously rejects you outside of the bedroom, then you really have to ask yourself a couple of questions. Starting with why. Why are you doing this? What are you getting out of this? What is compelling you to really continue to indulge in this behavior where it's damaging you? A lot of the root of that is fatherlessness. And I know that that's not a popular opinion. I was someone who was fatherless for a long time. And I know that I was not someone who was promiscuous, but I was driven to really crave the attention of a suitor. And unfortunately, I ain't really had no boyfriends in high school. Nobody checking for me like that. So I've spent a lot of time like reading romance novels, which is how I've wound up with reading forever. But, just kind of dreaming of having this guy and, being in this relationship. And so when I met my ex-husband, the fact that he paid any attention to me and the fact that he was, even remotely appeared to be interested in me, like I latched onto that like a lifeline. I really did. And, irrespective of the fact that he did not treat me well, I kept thinking that if I just do this and I do that, then eventually he will come around. And, he became like this project. That's not how that works. My self-esteem was wrapped up in that. My whole self-worth and my self-value was wrapped up in that. I was 17 and really and truly didn't know myself at all. And that's part of the problem. When you don't take the time to get to know yourself, when you don't take the time to develop yourself, mind, body, and spirit, then you are really out there just twisting in the wind. And if you don't define who you are, somebody else will define that for you. They will tell you who you are. They will tell you what you're worth, and they will tell you what you deserve. And you will believe them because you've not done any self-work. You've not invested in yourself enough to know, no, that's not, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that at all. Anytime you find yourself in a position of begging a man to just stay with you, to just be with you, to just do this and just do that, you have already lost, sis. Like, seriously, you've already lost. What you begging for? What do you hope to get out of this? What do you need him to be that he isn't already? How do you negotiate this when you've given everything up front? He don't need you. You need him. And you've told him that over and over again. So now how do you expect for him to respond? Now you go ahead and make yourself a mother and you think that that's going to keep him too. It's not. It's really not. How many baby mamas are out here with a lot of kids and the dad has moved on to someone else? And God forbid he actually married the next woman. Now you bitter and angry and you just don't understand why. Because you did not take the time to negotiate what you needed up front and to decide whether or not this man actually was the one who needed to give it to you or was capable of giving it to you or if he should even be in your life in that way. You just jumped head first into this relationship. And this is not, a shaming session. It just is. And we have to begin to acknowledge that when we choose wrongly, when we keep pressing the matter with men who are not good for us, when we keep initiating situationships with partners who ultimately don't want to be with us, we are responsible for breaking our own heart. We are responsible for creating chaos in our lives and the lives of our children. We are responsible for this narrative, and we can stop this if we really wanted to. We've got to do a better job of saying, no, my standard is this. And unless you can meet the standard, then we really don't have any conversation. But you yourself also have to have a certain offering or a certain standard. And that means that you need to develop your mind. You need to finish school, finish your education, start a business, whatever it is that you need to do, be well-rounded so that you bring something to the table. You also need to make sure that you are growing and developing at a rate that's appropriate. Get over some of this immature behavior. We all have it. Like, I can be childish and petty. I think that we all can. But you need to be able to harness that. You need to be able to demonstrate that in a way that is not offensive. And, you know, you're entitled to your moment, but not all the time. Learn how to talk to people. Learn how to engage people. Learn how to entreat your man. Like, seriously, if that is ultimately what you want. And like I said before, that doesn't have to be for every man. Like, I don't believe that women out here just being wife material for every man that ever lived ever. I think that's stupid. I think that you are like wife material for the man that is going to make you his wife. Everybody else, like, I don't understand what we're doing. Like, one dude only, like your husband. That's who you need to be wife material for. So forget all the rest of the stuff. But beyond that, I think discovering your purpose, discovering why you're here, understanding your role in this world, aside from being somebody else's mama or somebody else's wife. Why were you born? What are you intending to do? What does your life look like? And what does your partner look like when if you're compatible and if you're going to work together and actually be in a true partnership? Get some healing for yourself. If you've got some unresolved issues with your daddy and them, you know, with past relationships, if you've got some broken areas and some broken pieces, please don't expect for, you know, a man to come along and put all of that back together, because just like we don't like projects, they don't like projects either. Get yourself together. Go for counseling if you need it. Get some self-help books. Get yourself a mentor. Work on developing yourself and being the absolute best person that you can be, so that you're not falling for these guys that are just selling you anything and you're desperate to buy. No. Stop with these situationships and stop settling for this situationship if you earnestly want a relationship. It's okay to say no. And you don't have to accept those terms. You really don't. You can negotiate for the terms that make more sense for you. All day, every day. And if they don't, learn to walk away. It's okay. Like, we don't have to have an ROI for everything. I know that, you know, investing all this time and energy in this dude has got to pay off. But sometimes the payoff is just not worth it. And you have to understand that. You have to know that. And you have to really recognize that when you say it. I don't know. I'm Felisa. This is part 2 of Situationships. Leave your comments below if you have any. And I will catch y'all later on. Bye.